In a progressively more secularized world, it sometimes seems that the only religious people out there are fanatics. And frankly, I'm fed up with them. You look into any over-the-top, cruel, and wanton atrocity in the world today, and chances are you'll find some scripture-spouting nutbar, judging and condemning and punishing and happily killing the innocent while cloaked in the garb of faith. So, our next speaker, Sam Harris, thinks it's time to address the role that religion plays in perpetuating human conflict. Sam?
Thank you, Robert. I'm going to talk about belief, specifically the problem of religious belief. Our world has been balkanized, as Moses just said, by incompatible religious dogmas. I want to say up front that my intention really is not to offend anyone. I'm not being deliberately provocative. I'm simply worried because I see no reason for us to expect to survive our religious differences indefinitely. It seems to me transparently obvious that the marriage of 21st century technology, the fact that a few short years from now, you'll be able to sit in a cave in Afghanistan and with your $1,000 laptop, you will essentially have a supercomputer that can kick off its genetic algorithms, its malicious code, to the rest of society. This alone makes this balkanization of our world, the separate moral identities, the fact that we're not identified just merely as being human beings, but we are Muslims and Jews, it makes it untenable. So, briefly, what is a belief? What does it mean to believe something to be true? Well, clearly, beliefs are representations of the world, but they're more than that. Beliefs really are machinery for guiding our behavior and emotion through time. So what do people believe? Well, where I come from, in the US, 22% of the population claims to be certain, literally certain, that Jesus is going to come down out of the clouds and save the day sometime in the next 50 years. Certain. Another 22% think he probably will come back in the next 50 years. This is 44% of the electorate. These people not only elect our congressmen and presidents, they get elected as congressmen and presidents. This should be terrifying to all of us. You take another effect of religious dogmatism in my own country. We have college-educated politicians resisting stem cell research, probably one of the most promising lines of research in biology to generate medical therapies, is being impeded by this medieval notion that the soul enters the zygote at the moment of conception and therefore blastocysts in a petri dish, literally undifferentiated clumps of cells. The interests of these cells trump the interests of 8-year-old girls with diabetes or 40-year-old men with Parkinson's. Okay, the conversation never gets had. The moral arguments never even have to be made at a political level because it is fundamentally taboo to criticize someone's religious beliefs. Faith is really a conversation stopper. Now, in response to these sorts of problems, many of us, many well-intentioned people, have come to think that the appropriate accommodation with modernity is to develop what's called religious moderation. And really the soul of religious moderation is this political correctness, where everyone should be free to believe whatever he wants about God. There's just no harm, no foul, beliefs are private. Let me tell you for a moment why I think this is a dead end. First of all, religious moderation gives cover to religious fundamentalism. George Bush can call a press conference and announce to the world that he's going to appoint common sense judges. This is a quote. I'm going to appoint common sense judges who realize that our rights are derived from God. It seems to me the next sensible question by any journalist in the room would be, Mr. President, how is that any different from appointing common sense judges that realize that our rights are derived from Poseidon? I mean, it's not like someone in the 3rd century actually figured out that the biblical God exists, but Poseidon doesn't. You know, this is not data that we have. Okay, this obviously would be the last question that journalists would ever ask. Another problem with religious moderation is it's actually intellectually bankrupt. Just consider for a moment this notion that you should respect other people's beliefs. Where else in our discourse do we encounter this? I mean, when was the last time anyone in this room was admonished to respect another person's beliefs about history or biology?